I met Stan Lee twice in my life, in the same day. I paid $400 to go to Wizard World in Sacramento and get a press pass, or not a press pass, a VIP pass, and I got to meet him. I said 2 words to him during the photo op because that's all I could think of. It was 3 words. It was oh my god. And I got up, I took the picture, and then I left because I didn't know what to say. I got up again to go meet him and get an autograph of that picture later on in the day. And everyone was talking to him, everyone was chatting with him as they were walking up. And I was about to get up, and again, I didn't know what to say. And then there was a family in front of me. And that family had just had their stuff signed, and they were going to walk away, and their kid turned around and said, wait, I want to ask him a question. My stuff at that point was already being signed by him, which basically meant that this kid was now taking my time to talk to him. And in the moment, I was relieved because I didn't know what I was going to say, but I was kind of angry. But then when I heard the kid's question and the exchange that followed, I was fine with it. The kid turned around and said, Mr. Lee, what's your favorite color? And Stan Lee looked at the kid, and he gave that patented, he looked around so amazed and impressed, and he's like, well, I don't know. Nobody ever asked me that. And the kid was just like, what is it? And he's like, well, I love all of them. I use them all the time. I think I like green the most. I use that the most. And the kid was like, cool, I like green too. And he walked away, and they handed me my stuff, which meant I didn't get to talk to Stan Lee. But it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. That being said, here we go.
Okay, let's go, man. Let it out. It's good.
There we go.
It's the time to do it.
So, face front, True Believers, welcome once again to the Capeless Crusaders live at the time from Empire's Comics Vault. My name is David Barry at Dr. Barry on varying social media platforms. I am joined tonight, first to my left, the emotionless rock that is.
I'm Mander at Son of Mander on Instagram and Twitter, and it's gonna get through. It's gonna be fine. They're there.
Thanks, man.
My wife constantly tells me how great I am at comforting people in their time of need.
Oh man, I'm feeling it right now.
She lying to you?
Yes. To end the awkwardness, I'm gonna toss it on over to the other end of the table.
I have no witty retort. I have nothing comedic to say because it's a somber night. This is the Azorian one, Anthony Steves. To my left.
Trying not to cry, and you probably won't see it because I'm the one wearing glasses, so there is a glare, and it is great.
Had that for a year.
Gosh, I know. And now all I wanted to say was, we miss you, Grandpa, because... Man, I didn't want to cry.
Didn't think it was going to be tough until we went live. Then
No, we were fine. We were all fine. And then you give the story that I've heard 4 or 5 times, and it's still so good. And I was just excited that I brushed up against this cardigan 2 years ago at Silicon Valley Comic-Con, and I thought I was going to have a heart attack. And it's the green cardigan. So.
You still tell me who you are.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
They're still hanging on to know who you are.
I have a title.
But the listeners, when they hear it, they won't know.
Third, you guys.
It's Amy.
You can find me at IJNURobot, but for the most part, David's gonna crack, and then I'm gonna follow suit, and then you might hear.
It's gonna be Anderson by himself.
And at the end, it's just gonna be me talking, rambling on.
And then, yeah.
We have a show.
Yeah, we do.
We do have a show.
We have sponsors. Let's start with that.
Well, first, we have to tell you that we are your number one, allegedly, podcast for anything supposedly comic book related. And we would not be here if not for that man down at the end.
Or over there.
Or over there. He's over there.
He's everywhere.
He's everywhere. So, you can find anything related to the Capeless Crusaders at thecapelesscrusaders.com. That is our website, our central hub. We've got everything related to all of our content and all of our previous episodes. You could also find our sponsors, like Beard Balm Brush. I used mine today. I had combed out my beard. It's lovely. I'm wearing my Thor shirt that I was wearing the day that I met Stan Lee. We are also sponsored by Empire's Comics Vault,
where we are.
Our home away from home at 1120
Fulton Avenue,
Sweet K.
Everybody's sweet cake.
Ben's selling holiday grab bags. You can come in and get. They're themed, and you can do stuff. Good evening to the chat room.
We're happy to have you guys. We're gonna cry.
Manderson needs as a mop to help comfort individuals with did mop flop. Yeah, he just from 5 feet away just wiped my tears. Yeah. And Mike Oxshard was fine until now. Thanks, guys. You're welcome.
We love you too, Mikey.
Hello in the chat. Thank you for hanging out. On this day, a somber day for comic books, for many reasons. For Veterans Day,
he was
the Niners just lost.
Yep.
So that
Detective Pikachu dropped.
Detective Pikachu trailer dropped. Some people are really excited. Some people are a little confused.
Toy Story 4 teaser dropped.
Yeah, we got a toy. Didn't know that was happening. Someone there's a lot of stuff.
I'm
really glad I'm wearing my glasses.
Yeah. On this week's episode of the Capeless Crusaders, we're of course going to go around the horn. We're going to talk about comic books, every single dang one of them, in some way connected or inspired by that man down at the end. We're going to talk about some news. We got a lot of it, and then our main topic, which we did not change for Stan, but it's still perfect all the way. Why we believe in our heroes, both literal and literary, and those gone too soon. So, when we are in a comic book store, when we are surrounded by comic books, when we have built a, I just forgot the word. Is it ofrenda? An ofrenda? The ofrenda to Stan Lee down at the end. We always remember. Si se puede. When we are in a comic book store, we like to go around the horn. Don't do that, I'll cry.
I'm waiting for somebody. I'm really waiting for somebody.
Where's the
to
button?
chat to
The
me.
Duke boys are not doing anything this evening for Stanley.
In ofrenda. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Antic Fire. Mike Oxshard turned 40 today. Been a great day. Hey, 40's the new
26.
That's a good number. That's a solid number. That's a good number.
I had a good time at 26.
Are you gonna have a good time at 40?
Yes.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Anyway,
Is that because you're Portuguese and that's how it works?
Yep.
yeah, at 40, that's when you
when we peak.
So you hit your stride. When we go around the horn, we go around the table in a circular fashion, talking about what comic books we've been reading this week. Except for the fact we no longer have a circular table. Sometimes we talk about the comic books that we're currently reading right now, feverishly with our thumbs.
I'm doing great. I actually read one prior to this, but this is really...
That's an R.C. Wiley advertisement.
You picked a heck of a banger to go out on today.
If I'm gonna cry, you're gonna see
cry.
all of it, and I'm moving through my emotion in the exact way I'm supposed to.
So we talk about comic books. Oh yeah, happy birthday, Mike Oxshard. Which is he said he turned 40. We didn't say happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mike.
Steves.
Yes.
Start us off.
Sorry.
What have you read this week?
Can't.
I knew you wouldn't. You're trash. Sorry.
Wow.
He was busy exposing his kids to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle
I'm
movie.
glad you said something else
Thank
after
you for
exposing
finishing
it.
that
Thank you for
sentence.
covering it.
What
Thank you
if
for
I
covering all of that.
What if I finish a series of a comic I haven't read yet?
That doesn't make any sense at all.
I know.
Except...
Sabrina. It's Sabrina.
Oh, that counts. I mean, what counts?
Okay, well,
Part
we
of it.
finished Chilling Adventures of Sabrina the week of Halloween.
Are you suing them along with the Temple of Satan?
I am not. I am not suing them. I enjoyed the series immensely.
Church of Satan's cool with it. Temple of Satan is not.
Yes.
Temple of Set, those guys are weird. We don't care about them.
Who are they? I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a campy, tongue-in-cheek, fun, very dark series.
Campy and dark don't usually go together.
They do,
right?
but they do it.
doesn't
But they
this.
do it. They do it, and it's very well done, very funny. Keeps us intrigued, ready for season 2. I strongly recommend Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix. They do mention Riverdale about 3 times in the series. You don't see anyone from Riverdale though, and Salem is there, the cat.
Riverdale. That's where Elrond lives.
Yes, that one.
Oh,
That's actually that's Rivendell.
thank you for clarifying.
This is the neighbor.
Yeah. The name of Riverdale, Rivendale,
Yeah,
This is-
elves, witches.
This
Yeah.
is.
You gotta toss me. You have to toss me.
Yeah.
What is it?
Don't tell the elf.
Where does Nightwing hang out?
Bloodhaven.
Yeah, thank you, Bloodhaven.
So it's Bloodhaven to Gotham.
Yeah, it is
Rivendale to Riverdale.
to Mordor.
But I thought Metropolis was across the river from.
Just around the riverbend. Anyway, I watched Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I enjoyed it
You
very
were
much.
just trying to maintain
That's the
your.
closest I've read to a comic.
And Antic Fire.
I am sorry. I
getting flirty with
apologize.
Hey.
No.
So-
You're struggling to keep it together, and I already know you're
He's
you're
the
doing
sexy
fine.
guy at the end of the
Yeah,
table.
no. Good. I appreciate that. Manderson, what'd you read?
trying to figure out which one I want to talk about. Well, if you... Seven to Eternity is probably the last thing I finished, so it's sticking in my head. I think I must have missed an issue because I was a little confused, but...
I started my life with that series. I'm like, that was so good. Did I miss something?
It was so long in between issue 11 and 12, I think, that I just forgot some stuff.
Do you read the stuff at the beginning and end, like the long, like...
I do, yeah.
Okay, so I didn't read those at first, and then I realized, I'm like, wow, I'm missing a lot of the
some
story.
stuff. Yeah, that's why I started reading them. Yeah, but it's still like at this point, there's just so many players in the game that it's super interesting. They've been able not to make it feel convoluted or overpopulated or anything like that, and it's taken some twists that I didn't expect. So it's pretty good. It's been solid all 12 issues.
Nice.
Or 11 of the 12 that I've read, because I feel like I didn't miss one. But who knows? I read a bunch of other stuff as well. I talked about on Crossover that I was excited about Super Sons, and I read that.
What's Crossover?
Oh, yeah. Crossover is the show that I'm doing with my brother, Danderson.
The Clan of Ander.
The clan have come together.
11. We had our first episode. We had a lot of fun.
It's not on YouTube yet. I apologize.
Unite the clans.
Next episode's gonna be not this Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. We're gonna talk about the Manchester Derby, which is a soccer game.
Oh, United versus City.
And yeah,
I need you to do some rugby. I need to know
He's
how the All
speaking
Blacks are
language I
doing.
get.
I'm on my second viewing of the game.
Nice.
Anyway,
shut up. I know sports. Shut up. Shut up.
But it's soccer, and you don't like the soccer.
Yeah, I don't care. I still can understand.
Okay, I'm sorry.
God.
You had the face.
Anyway, Amy.
Yeah, the face was not caring. Amy, what are you reading?
Amy?
What did I just complete?
Okay, yeah.
I'm done.
All right,
No.
okay.
So I actually read one prior to this, and I needed something to kind of hone and focus. But I realized that in reading this was a bad choice because it's fantastic. So I'm going to talk. That's the Carmelo one.
Okay.
You don't want the white. It's caramel and chocolate chips.
I'll figure it out.
Or do you want an M&M?
No, I'll figure it out.
Just take his.
I'm offering. It's back there.
Cool.
So, Steve, if you need to grab the box, give the man
What did
an
we
M&M.
read?
I read what? Okay, so hi guys. I read two things this week. The first thing that I read prior to me actually picking up my phone, which you saw me reading it, finishing it. I read Wicked and Divine. We're at the end of an arc, which means this is a special, and this one was pretty campy and adorable.
Aww.
So it was a whole bunch of puns and bits, and at one point, if Wicked and Divine, I have not explained it enough because it is one of my consistent ongoings. We're following every 90 years, pantheon of 12 gods is born on Earth. For 2 years, they're hated, feared, and loved, and then they die. So it is gods, all gods. We get everybody across the board. So we've got Sekhmet, we've got Baal, we've got Inanna, we've got Persephone, Lucifer, Dionysus. We get
What about Harold?
Which one?
Harold's not there.
Which Harold? There's a couple of
They
Heralds.
don't know about Harold.
There's a couple of Heralds. You can tell.
Is that a Portuguese god?
thing?
No.
Does he kind of wear his hat a little
Barely
high
on his head, rubber boots, and a flannel.
You're talking about the guy from that song.
You're doing pretty good.
Yeah,
without actual words.
Steves.
I love that you guys are helping each
Say
other. 'Cause-
epa. There you go. Done. You got it. There it is.
So the puns that were persistent for most of this issue. There's one where all of the pantheon is dogs, and it's hilarious and it's really cute. So Inanna, I should also mention that David Bowie. Lucifer looks like David Bowie. Inanna looks like Prince. Mind you, this was all before he died too, which is fantastic. Both of them. Yes. And the end was Kieran Gillen's tweets. So So there was the running joke of my job as massaging ducks is getting tiring, and my thumbs really hurt. And then the next one was I quit my job as a duck massager and now have moved on to a German sausage factory. I couldn't say things are bad, but they couldn't get any versed.
Ha!
Yeah, they were, and he spelled it.
I want the SNL gif.
Ay, Dios mío.
And then actually I enjoyed it. There was a bit of levity for what was going on. And then somebody stole it from my box, but I finished Tom King's Hearing Crisis #1.
Jerks.
We find out who you are.
I appreciate you. I hope you loved it as much as I did.
It's a very nice answer instead of us threatening.
It is
In the chat.
It is stunning. I'm really excited considering that Manderson is all caught up. He's got me feeling it caught up. I don't know what it is, but I'm fairly certain he's got it twisted. He's so caught up.
There's a song. I knew it.
It was a song.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
It's dealing with issues of PTSD and trauma.
Yeah.
PTS.
And
It's not a disorder. It's a condition. It's not a disorder. Sorry, continue.
please tell me about my condition.
We're the show.
Sorry, I'm going to cry anyway, so we can start this now because my therapist thinks this is great.
Classification?
So basically, you're talking, and I believe Manderson's already probably mentioned it. The heroes have come to a safe space where the sanctuary, and it's an AI, has been built with Kryptonian tech. It's got Bruce's smarts and Wonder Woman's compassion, and it is a therapist for the superheroes. So you are getting full pages and wonderful panels of them sitting there and talking. So we have Arsenal, we have Hotshot, we have Harley, we have Booster Gold, and we have, and I'm missing the first one off, Blue Jay, right off the bat.
Blue Jay?
Yep. So there has been a disastrous breach at Sanctuary, and you are dealing with the aftermath of not just people who have put on the face of being heroes, but who are, in a sense, it's giving more humanity to these names that you might not even know. One of the best things that I read...
Too much research.
Yeah, I know. One of the best things that I read was actually Arsenal's talk in the chair to Sanctuary. And he comes out and says that he's an addict. Just right off. He says his name. I'm a superhero and I'm an addict.
Is Arsenal Roy in the
Speedy.
comic still?
Yeah.
Speedy, yeah.
Speedy. And he explains about that he doesn't have a superpower. He's a guy with sticks. And so when that happens and you get hurt a lot, you find comfort in other things. And so it's going to be a heck of a thing to go. The 2 issues are currently out. I have no idea when the 3rd is coming out. I'm going to be crying and recommending this all day, just like I did The Vision. Anyway, Doc.
Yes.
Hi, buddy.
I like to think of, though, was that it sounds like it's a much more serious, darker version than Hawkeye and Age of Ultron saying, the city's flying and I have arrows.
Yes.
None of this makes sense.
Yeah, that's basically it.
It's the meat and potatoes of mental stability. Of
Jace.
Now I'm hungry.
Jace. Do you want a cookie? You got a cookie.
Oh.
What'd you read, buddy?
I'm trying to remember. I didn't write it down.
You did. This is weird.
And he reads a lot.
Things are disheveled.
Disheveled. Cookie?
Maybe.
What's in the box?
Thanks. No. Not the M&Ms. Maybe. So I read. I kept reading The Invisibles by Grant Morrison.
The cookie put you back on track.
Yes. I also I read the first issue of Maneaters.
Oh, how
Yes,
did you like it?
I thought Maneaters was a lot of fun.
So good.
I find it interesting that I didn't realize that the mutation came from cat feces. I thought that was hysterical.
You clean out a cat litter in your room.
Yeah, and so I'm going to turn into a giant cat, except I don't have Menzies. So that's
We
the
could
story.
fix that. We'll get you enough hormones. You'll be fine.
Crazy. The world is an interesting place. So that's what I read. I read Man-Eaters and number 1, which I think you should check out. I got the glittery cover. And then I'm also, like I said, still reading volume 1 of The Invisibles, which is just a trip. Grant Morrison is a phenomenal writer. He's also doing the new Green Lantern. Have you checked it out yet?
I did read that too, yeah.
I've not gotten a chance to read it yet. I'm interested in it. So,
News.
news. Yep, just going to go right to it. Go.
California won't stop burning.
Yeah, we're just on fire constantly. That's just,
It's our life now.
we're on it.
We're lit. We're mad lit.
We're so hot right now.
Mad lit.
I can't come up with puns for this.
Anyway.
Everything is on fire.
So
The world is on fire.
the obvious news that we already talked about, the passing of Stan Lee. I want to talk about other stuff because we don't want
to broach that just yet.
I don't want to cry anymore. So,
it's gonna hurt.
first off, Disney's streaming service has been announced. It'll be called Disney Plus, and it is getting a Winter Soldier, Falcon TV show,
Loki.
Scarlet Witch, and Loki, which Tom Hiddleston has confirmed he will be coming back for. It's going to be a limited series. I think it'd be hilarious if all of a sudden it finally shows up and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's animated." And he's just a voice actor. I'm like,
That's what I've been. I'm like, wait a minute. These all animated shows or live action?
that's what I'm worried about.
And if it's not, either way, hi Tom, we love you.
Tom.
Friend of the show.
Yeah.
Friend of the show, Tom.
This makes me think. No, Winter Soldier show.
Right.
So could this be a hint that he won't be getting the shield, and that maybe it's going to Sam?
But it's Winter Soldier and Falcon.
Hey, thanks. Missed that part. Continue.
That's why I'm just helping you out.
It's a comedy about them fighting over the shield.
Actually, I think it would be really good if they like move into an apartment together. Or something. Just the two of them.
The shield's just on the couch.
Until they can figure out who gets the shield, they have to move into an apartment
I'm all
together.
about that. And so Scarlet Witch is also getting a series, but I am really worried that they're going to be animated.
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
But I mean, here's the thing though:
Why would that be bad?
It wouldn't be bad, but I like live action better.
I'm thinking live action when I hear Tom Hiddleston and all that.
But I think that it could be really cool if what the word I'm looking for, if they follow in the footsteps right now what the DC app is doing, and the DC app is actually producing some pretty good content. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to. We'll get there when it happens.
Perfect Strangers, Winter Soldier, and Sam.
Yeah. In other news, this is kind of old, but it's still here. Walking Dead has signed Norman Reedus and Melissa McBride for movie deals, and Rick Grimes, of course, is not actually dead. His character is still alive, and he's also doing. I thought they were going to be in theater movies. It turns out they're going to be TV movies. Whatever. Who cares?
Because they're trying to build the AMCU.
Kind of, yeah.
Shenanigans.
I will be saying that. So far, the viewers of the latest episode of The Walking Dead, which just happened last Sunday, everyone is screaming that they're getting back that feel they got when they first saw the series, back when it started.
Yeah.
So
Woo.
That's happening.
Whatever. Just to real fast, a reference in the chat. Ace Platinum. Hello, friend. Welcome back. Yeah, ask your questions. We'll try to get to them.
But my name is not Larissa.
As we can. Red Elephant, welcome, and you should go back to the beginning of the episode and hear my emotional story. And
he's a kid.
And M Sauce, Boo Loki, let someone else play the goddess. I actually think that's a really valid point. I think that could be cool. That's actually why I wouldn't mind animated. If they let Tom Hiddleston and they just up the octave on his voice and let him be female Loki.
Hello.
I'd be down with that, or just someone completely new. If they wanted to go either the young Loki or the female Loki route, I would totally be down with that. Thanks.
Nice to meet you, Jerry.
Yeah. Anyway.
Larry?
So, and last two pieces of news
Trevor.
are important to me because they're in regards to the Swamp Thing. So they're also important to you.
The Swamp Thing.
Swamp
Yeah,
Thing.
the Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing. I'm about to lay up the band hammer down in this chat romantic fire. Anyway, so 3 important castings that we got. First off,
agree with.
Yeah, we're all about these. Both Alec Holland and Swamp Thing have been cast. So Derek Mears, who was Jason in
The Friday the 13th reboot.
Friday the 13th reboot. He's also he's a you would recognize he's a monster actor. Mm-hmm. He's a really big, tall guy, bald. He's a blank slate. He's been in Pirates of the Caribbean with some of the evil pirates. He was one of the tentacle-faced guys in Men in Black. Mm-hmm. He's just done.
He is a canvas for which the swamp citizen shall.
Yes, he's a wonderful, especially because they don't want to do a lot of CGI. So you just put a little bit of green on him, and boom, he's there. Boom. So we got Derek Mears, who's going to be Swamp Thing. Andy Bean, who I haven't seen too much of the stuff that he's been in. I haven't seen any of the stuff that he's been in. But he's been cast as Alec Holland. Read the next note for me.
Oh, okay.
As Dr. Holland.
Kevin Durant reportedly cast as Woodrow in Swamp Thing.
There he is.
Thank you.
Who's Kevin Durant?
So Kevin Durant, oh crap, I can't remember any of the stuff that he's in, but we look him up. You know who he is.
I remember who Woodrow is, though.
Yes, so Woodrow is the Floronic?
X-Men.
Oh, yeah. Kevin Durant was in X-Men Origins Wolverine, the Blob. He was the Blob.
Yeah.
Fred Dukes. He was the jerk face in the Rock's movie Walking Tall.
Yeah.
He was also he was Little John in Robin Hood with Russell Crowe.
Oh yeah, there's a deep cut.
Right, yeah.
Blob and...
But he's got a history of being like either the bad guy's sidekick or the sidekick to the good guy.
He's always the sidekick, never the villain.
Anyway, he is going to be Woodrow, who's the Floronic man, who is basically a guy who he's like exposed. So he's similar in that basically becomes made of vegetation, very similar to Swamp Thing, but he's not connected to the green in the same way, which is actually part of the reason he what's the word I'm looking for? he goes head to head with Swamp Thing. He's actually a lot of the research involved. So in the series, we know we're getting at least the first volume of Alan Moore's Saga of the Swamp Thing. So I'm really excited for that. Not Durant, Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant was also in Smokin' Aces. He was one of Chris Pine's crazy brothers, and he was Red in Wild Hogs.
Is that the
Wow,
one
that's he's got a wonderful resume.
He's got like pretty good. What's this? Pretty
Yeah,
good.
he's not
What's
bad.
this?
we're talking Wild Hogs.
Martin Lawrence, John Travolta, Tim Allen, and William
the-
H. Macy. Yes,
Vroom, vroom.
the Weekend Bikers. Yeah, and he was one of the bad guy bikers.
Where you at?
Huh.
Yeah,
This is gonna be bad.
No, do you know what's fantastic?
What?
That Chad is so happy.
Yeah, chat's all over the place. They really bounce back. But we're gonna take you down.
We're not going to take you down because there is a running list of what my job is, and that makes today. Apparently, you have 2 jobs.
What are my 2 jobs?
You're Trevor, and you read to children at the local library, and the other is standing on top of water signs saying, "Yep, next person." And apparently, Jerry works at a flower shop.
I'm like Vanderbeek. I'm like Vanderbeek in How I Met Your Mother. When he's like the Canadian, he's like, whoop. Go ahead. Whoop. Go ahead. Whoop. He's like, I think I could do that. And he's like, a kid just died. Another kid just died. No, they got a pile up. You got a bunch of kids' bodies. Anyway.
I can't scroll up, but apparently I'm either a barista and a bartender, and then I couldn't get to the one that was you.
I'm Johnny Karate.
I'm not going back to that. Anyway.
But it's entertaining because Jerry doesn't
Johnny
work at the
Karate.
comic book
Ruru's
store.
here.
I do.
So, our main topic for the evening is a heavier topic. It was going to be heavy no matter what, and then it just happened to land on today, and then Stanley, and then it's just so on. So,
Just a reminder, Red Elephant, do your homework.
yeah. Why we believe in our heroes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And
you're
this is
welcome.
heroes as across the board
A
heroes.
broad term of heroes. So basically, I asked each of them to kind of bring up talking points about what they thought when I said, "Why we believe in heroes? What does that make you think of?" And we got a lot of ideas for it. But in a broad sense, hero is an interesting term because it can apply to a superhero. It can apply to a regular everyday person who carries out heroic acts. It can apply to a character of legend who follows what is called the hero's journey. There's all kinds of different variations on what a hero can mean. So what I want first off is for each of you to tell me what a hero means to you personally. You got that? Is that
with or without an example? Because I'm just making for clarification.
making for clarification? If you have an example, go for it. What does a hero mean to you, Manderson? Starting with you.
That heroes that we believe in are
Do you
just
not want
heroes.
to?
I was just worried you were going to go with me first.
I'm trying to make sure that I stay on topic and I don't start wandering and get cry. I also am making space so that Madison has time to think.
I think just like the basic when like I put the label here on somebody, I mean, to bring up an example, I oftentimes in the real world think of my youngest brother,
Sanderson.
He served in the Marine Corps for a number of years, and like most veterans, he doesn't talk a whole lot about it, but I know he had to do a lot of things that I mean the rest of us don't have to see. And then he comes back, he honorable discharge. He comes back, and the first thing he does is he thinks about what's the most dangerous thing that I can do. Not because he's an adrenaline junkie, but because he wants to put others first. Like he sacrifices time with his family. He has a daughter now.
Wood chipper maintenance.
He's a firefighter.
Close.
Wood. Yeah, wood.
But
all about that, huh?
he could have chosen a very safe job. He's a smart guy. He probably could have got like a desk job and just kind of made a lot of money. But he's like, nope, I'm gonna find a job where I can still where I still have to put my life on the line on occasion to save others, to put other people's lives first, to make it so that a family or a group of people can continue to make memories and have time together at the expense of my own. And so I guess like the one trait there is there's selflessness in there. Yeah. There's courage. There is
Don't take all the buzzwords.
There's a lot of times there's hope.
All the buzzwords.
Yes. So
you had to get the Superman word.
sorry.
Yeah.
So I mean, but like
symbol on his chest doesn't mean hope.
my brother is like the embodiment of a hero.
Is he local?
Yeah, he works at Folsom Fire Department.
So is he up north right now or down south?
He was on vacation at the time, so in his mind, unfortunately, he was on vacation, so he didn't get to go. I mean, maybe when he gets back.
But in your mind, fortunately, he was on vacation.
The family was like, we're glad he's not up there, but I mean, that's like the kind of thing is like when that happens, it's like, I want to go because I want to make a difference there.
So he probably didn't have fun on his vacation because he's thinking about that thing the whole time.
I mean, he probably had a little bit, but yeah, he's probably like,
that's like in the back of his head.
I could have been back home doing this thing that I signed up to do, and I don't get to do it. And that's like the way I guess that's the way the heroes think. It's like, I have my own life, but there's certain events that happen that like I could be there making a difference. And I'm not there because I'm living my life. And it's fair for them to live their lives, but they don't think about it the same way. As to me, I'm like, well, I'm glad he's not there, and I'm glad I don't have to go there, and I get to live my life safely in my home with my 2 kids and my wife, just like a normal family. But my brother doesn't think that way. He's not built that way. So that's
a wonderful definition. You didn't need extra time. He's on it.
That was good.
Amy.
Hey.
Are you ready?
Well, let's go.
Do this.
Let's do this.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Amy.
Okay.
What does being a hero mean to you? Or what does a hero mean to you?
No, I'm not trying to start off cliche.
Oh, that's a pregnant pause.
How pregnant do we need it? I'm pregnant with emotion, bro. Calm down.
Wait, are you wait?
Am I wait what? Oh god, that would have been weird.
We just announced live on the show. No, I'm kidding.
I'm just fat. I got that.
Oh no. Okay.
It's okay, buddy.
Good job, Steve.
That's why you're my family.
It's like 2 week pregnant. No, come on.
I have already had kids, and I don't even get to say what a hero means to me because now we're having pregnant pauses that are becoming more pregnant.
Amy,
they've just stated at this point.
What's a hero mean to you?
That's a good thing. So, heroics aren't in words; they're in deeds.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Ooh, that was cliche. That was awesome.
When you look, and when you go into defining heroes, and I do this fairly regularly, and I think I've said it to everybody at this table at least once, where I've told them, "You're my hero," and yes, hero baby,
hero baby.
There we go.
The hero.
That was more on that one. So I've said it, and I don't say it without weight. And I don't just go, oh, you're my hero. Oh, you're a lifesaver. Because there's something that's impacted me that's changed the course of my day to help. And when it comes down to it, heroes do not run from a fight, regardless of the standard of it, regardless of the situation of it. They're the people that run towards the fire. They're the people that run towards the car accident. They're the people that stop and go check on their neighbors or go pick up the cat when there's the fire, or any situation where there is a need that is greater than self. They put themselves in the space to protect others. So when we start talking about it, about heroes, we can talk on the global scale. We can talk about the veterans that have been in our life, that have sacrificed, have done things, seen things, experienced things that we will never do. And it's not because of our inability, it's because they've already done it. It doesn't negate our impact on being a local hero or giving of your time so that you can be a hero for someone. You can simply be a hero, like if you were, and I tell my girls, when somebody gets me a glass of water and I'm coughing, they've, even in that moment, even as small of an act that it is, in their deed they have done something beyond themselves that is selfless, that is inspiring hope, that is giving space for something greater. And I think it really comes down to not just who you are as a person, but the impact you have on other people is based in kindness. And it's believing for something more. So.
Steve, say something.
Well, you guys took all the good words.
Yeah, all right.
So a hero is a person who dresses up in a leotard. It talks in a deep voice. And is on the cover of a magazine. No, I'm kidding.
That David Hasselhoff, yeah.
David Hasselhoff.
Or Hulk Hogan. Yeah, minus the racism.
80s Hogan.
What about The Rock in that Baywatch?
Just go with The Rock circa 2000. We'll go with that. It's the selflessness is what makes a hero. It is And it's a selflessness that anyone can, a step anyone can take. To quote Mr. Nolan in the third of the Batman films, a hero can be anyone. Anyone has the ability to be a hero. And heroic acts are anything from serving as a firefighter in a situation where it's like hell on earth. It is taking time out of your day to help a person across the street who can't make it on their own. It's getting the glass of water. It's being a good parent, a good brother, a good sister. It's taking the extra steps and putting someone else's needs ahead of yours. You were just saying of the person who runs into the fire instead of running away. And how many times do we see in all the movies we watch about our comic book heroes? Avengers Infinity War, when they first arrive, everyone's screaming and running, and it's Tony and Doctor Strange and them going the other way. What we always say, it's those heroes who, while everyone's running, they're going toward it. They're going toward the danger because they believe that they can help. They can make a difference to help all those that need their help. And that's what it is. It's you don't matter. What matters is everyone else. It's that selfless act that makes a hero. The city's flying, and I have arrows. Hawkeye's a hero.
None of it makes sense.
None of it makes sense.
You guys are pretty good at this. I was.
David,
We should also put
it only
into.
takes 3 or 4 moments.
Oh goodness, here we go. There it is.
Okay,
Do it.
That's
Do it.
Deadpool. That's all I got. It's a Deadpool.
Oh, got it. Okay. I thought you were going to say 4,600 minutes.
Not going Rent.
I can be your hero, baby.
Anyway,
Never seen Rent.
so the thing.
You haven't seen
I
Rent?
have not.
Oh dear.
It's pretty good. The problem with the word hero is, to some people it's a sacred term, and to other people it can be used willy-nilly, and the problem is who thinks they're right. In my opinion, hero is it can be about sacrifice, it can be about selflessness, it can be about all the things that we all said, but I think especially in the context of why I need heroes is inspiration. The one buzzword that none of you stole.
We left it for you. On
I
purpose.
know. A hero will inspire. A hero will inspire others to do better in even the smallest way. That excuse me.
That cookie. Man.
Yeah, that cookie. And so, and like I said, it's sometimes the problem is the way people have a sliding scale of what heroes should and shouldn't be. It's not I don't like it as a blanket term. I don't like when people refer to an entire group as heroes just because of something that they do for a job or for another thing. It needs to be the individual acts. Like it.
Can I just start quoting Joss Whedon / Nathan Fillion? Everyone's a hero in their own way.
Yeah, it's a solid one. I think it's just
Captain Hammer.
Yeah, Captain Hammer was a real hero. So let's hop right into it. In your experience, in your opinions, how do they parallel our life philosophies? Like, what is it about a hero that you looked for in yourself? Whether it's it's military, firefighter. I know we have a lot of military presence and familial connections at this table, and for me, I mean, it's not. My personal life philosophies in some ways line up with real life heroes, but in a lot of ways I find myself more critical than others when it comes to a lot of what people consider everyday heroes, which is why I look to stuff like comic books, even though I know they'll never be a Superman, they'll never be an Iron Man. I have hopes that a person who creates a character like that and is so inspired to create a character like that character might eventually manifest in the world, just if we hope enough and we think enough that maybe that person will exist. And I feel like that's kind of the the problem I have sometimes finding the parallel in my own life philosophies with heroes. It's, I don't know. I can't say that I would, run into a fire, but I also, I don't know. In the moment, who knows what's going to happen? So I feel like it's hard to say that I will hardline be a hero or not be a hero, which is kind of the issue I take with the word hero.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, both of you. You had points.
Well, I had a question actually
Yes.
for you. You have siblings?
I have, yes, I have an older sister and an older brother.
Okay. Did you ever, if one of them got hurt or had a situation happen, did you go to them? It doesn't have to be like a big one, but I'm the older sister, and my brother, who will be mad at me for this, but he's not watching. He crashed his bike in the cul-de-sac when he was 12, and this sounds really dumb.
No.
But he broke both of his front teeth. He skinned up half of his face, and he messed himself up bad. And I remember being all the way down the cul-de-sac, and all I did was hear him cry, and I ran to him, picked him up, because apparently that's how I roll, and I ran him back to the house and put him in the car before I went and got my parents. Mind you, he's like 3 years younger than me.
Right. So yeah, so
Did you have any situation?
because I'm your little brother. My sister was older than me. My brother is older than me. In my experience, I always saw them as the heroes of sorts. Like my sister is the one who, when I was 18 and broke my ankle, she's the one that came and and drove me all the way to the hospital, and she was the one who would pick me up when I fell down, even though I was 4 times the size of her. That being said, it's like I've never really had that opportunity to do so. It's I don't know. I would imagine that I would. I would hope that I would, but I can't say with 100% assurance. So
TBD.
Anderson, what was your point?
I think that every person, you've already said every person kind of has their own idea of what a hero is, but the word has such a broad application that it can have and potentially should have. There's going to be people that everybody looks to and says that person is a hero. The things that they've done. I mean, at Veterans Day, we talk about how the men and women that sacrifice to go overseas and do these things that we don't do, we call them heroes, not somebody that we all look to. But the point Amy made was that we all have moments where we do get to embody what a hero is. And it may look a little different for everybody. And to kind of answer the question you were getting at, I think just going to the comic books and maybe getting a little bit, I don't know if you guys remember the text conversation we had that inspired this, where we're talking about how writers use the different characters and stuff to convey messages about that parallel what's happening in the real world. And one of the problems I have with the culture that we live in is that it feels like the majority of people are very selfish and self-centered. And that is often portrayed very well in a lot of our comics with a lot of just the characters that are there, except for the heroes that are being emphasized. And those people tend to, in any book, there's always like, this is the characteristic that this hero embodies. And each of them, even though like Superman is hope, Wonder Woman is love, Batman is justice, just to go with the trilogy, being a DC guy mainly.
We can't tell by your shirt.
Yeah. That they all still show selflessness and emphasize that there is a greater need than themselves that they can contribute to. And when I read those and look into that, that inspires me to try to embody that. And there's ways that I can do that at my work. There's ways that I can do that at the church that I go to or the community that I live in. And it may never be anything that is big and splashy that will end up in a newspaper and will get me on a stage with a medal. And that's not why I do it either. It's to try to contribute to the greater good. And I think that's something that all of our heroes in the comic books that we read they emphasize that very well, and we can translate that both as personal application in the real world, and hopefully that inspires others to do the same as well.
We have different cultures, and back in history, they use these theological beings to be the bar as to what you try to achieve. Every religion has their figure that this is the one that you try to emulate and follow in that one's footsteps. Jesus, Muhammad, what have you. There's mythological characters from Roman and Greek times. For our culture, being a place where it's so open to different types of religions and non-religions and non-religious beliefs, we have the comic book heroes. And why I think these heroes, these figures connect so well is because, for the most part, a lot of them tend to be people, everyday people you see around town. You have these humans that just have these incredible abilities. You have a Steve Rogers, you have a Tony Stark, you have Bruce Wayne. And I think when you have those figures, they set the bar to what a society tries to be. Of course, not everyone is ever going to be like that. It's too difficult to actually be Bruce Wayne, to be Steve Rogers. But it's the attempt to try to reach that level that keeps a society progressing, that keeps us hoping to be that good. We'll never be as perfect as them. And even these characters, we've seen time and time again, not perfect, which is why we love them so much. It makes them relatable, and yet at the same time inspires us to do the right thing. Because it's a need to be that selfless person to help your society.
It's a chance of being a part of something. It's a chance of reminding yourself that you're connected. When we get down to our life philosophies, because I was the one that was, how does it parallel our life philosophies and what we believe in? The inspiration is exactly that. We all want to make a mark. And in comic books, it's easier for us to give space for our imagination, for these people who are larger than life. Because when we start stamping people who do remarkable things in real life, we feel inadequate. We can't, like running into a burning building. I know, in dealing with my job when I was a lifeguard and being in Alaska, there were car accidents where it was me and a medic and an off-duty police officer and nurses, and you're there stabilizing somebody. And I'm not a hero, but my community is what I was there to serve. And I know I won't be running into a building, but I'll be outside covering and giving support where I can, because my heart is in helping the people around me. And when we start tacking on the word hero to people that are real life, it feels fantasy. It feels like it's something that we will never attain. And so comic book heroes give us the space to believe that if one man can save the world from a nuclear attack by going out into space and stopping it and taking the blast, if one woman can stop a fictitious god and stop a war, if one man can be frozen for an insane amount of years and come back and inspire and lead, and people willingly follow, then maybe there's a chance for us. And I'd like to also point out in the chat that a lot of people have already told you, Barry, that people naturally gravitate to you. And it's an aspect people look for in leaders. You don't have to stamp yourself a hero to be one. Other people do it for you.
I don't like this is turning about me.
No, because you know what?
Triple stamp or double stamp.
You can't triple stamp or double stamp. I'm not trying to point you out, but it's part of understanding that your impact is worthy of the community around you, and it's for everybody.
Yeah.
Amy can tell you right now, I feel the gravity pulling me.
I'm literally getting
Is that a
pushed.
size joke? Is that because I'm giant? Is that
He's
what
so gay, gigante.
It's 2 fat jokes in one night.
I don't mean to do that.
We got to get a skinny joke for the guy in the end, so it works even better.
Hey, twig.
Yeah, you emaciated skeleton of a human.
Broken skull.
Yeah, is your stomach acid eating away your internal organs at this
love
point
it.
because there's no fat reserves left?
Man, that was a science cut down.
Okay,
You
so
okay? Are you living? You need me to make some chicken soup for you?
We got him. We got his crying. We got him.
Yeah. We didn't get emotions, but we made him angry.
So can I actually bring up the next part because
You
this
okay?
was? Did you just? Okay, somebody's knocking on someone's
Bonked his
door
head.
behind him.
Headbutt the.
So I would totally
Scalped.
love.
That's funny.
I would totally love to because I'm the next phrase off this because you asked me about this. So I'm going to lead this
Yeah.
section of the discussion so you get time to breathe. So I also brought up
I
when
not
we
been breathing
talked
the whole
about no
Okay, suddenly I am.
no Lamaze breathing, bro. Come on, get it deep, feel it, open your lungs. When you asked about what do I think about when we talk about believing in our heroes, I brought up sometimes how do they look, their aesthetic. Is them finding them more attractive? Does that change how they impact us? Does somebody have to be pretty for you to connect better with them? Or like one of my favorite lines from Tony Shalhoub in the Marvelous Miss Maisel was that to create a bigger impact, you have to be a little bit ugly. And it's ridiculous. But his daughter's like, even the women, and he's like, especially the women, you have to be kind of ugly to have importance, for people to take you seriously, for you to make an impact that matters.
That monk.
And that, but I thought it was just this great and weird space to go, if someone's too pretty, are you going to take them seriously?
Right.
So when it comes to our superheroines, do they have to be ultra pretty and kick butt, or do they have to be a little bit ugly for you to connect better with them?
I think that's why I dislike Superman so much, and why I like Frank Quietly's Superman so much. Because Frank Quietly's Superman isn't quite as pristine and perfect, because that's something just kind of off-putting about like the perfect square-jawed hero who lands, and I'm like,
Superhero landing.
yeah, you got to have something wrong with you for me to believe.
Frank Quietly was the All-Star Superman.
Yes,
The one that we all of us connect
right.
with.
One of the best.
That's
best
the one
looking
where
ones.
we go. We love the
Grant
Clark.
Morrison.
That's why we love our Clark Kent, and why
Yeah.
we can't really stand Superman.
Right, which is why I think which is why we connect with Tom King and with Heroes in Crisis, because we see that Superman, he always just switches back and forth between Clark Kent and Superman, and now he has this like issue of, am I more Clark Kent? Am I more Superman? Like he has this like almost like multiple personality kind of disassociation, and he's not sure who he's supposed to be, because he puts so much work into being not perfect as Clark Kent, and he's so perfect as Superman. It's nice to see him having that. It's not nice to see him having a personal crisis.
Well, no,
But it is.
it's nice because Tom King is doing what everyone before always complained about Superman, that he was too perfect and you can't do an emotional story about him. Tom King right now is giving you an emotional story about Superman, an unperfect moment he's having where he's battling over who he is. And for years there's always been these complaints of, and rightfully so, that the Superman story wouldn't be intriguing because he's too good, he's too perfect, you can't get too deep with him. And Tom King right now, I still think they touched on it pretty well in Man of Steel, the film, about making him feel like he's imperfect. But Tom King is giving you what people have said can't be done about Superman, and he's succeeding at it.
I mean, he's kind of doing it with everybody, and that's me just finishing the first issue. He's literally digging up, he's turning over the dirt to give the space for them to be human, which suddenly makes us connect even more with these characters that are larger than life. And you know, especially when we talk about female superheroes, there's a lot of, I will never say that a female superhero is ugly ever. They are varying degrees of being drawn, where I appreciate them more, I appreciate them less.
Is Frank Cho drawing them, and he's like, their butt must be
Spider
perfect. Or is it Milo Morano, who's like, their body will have no physics, but their butt will be huge. I don't know why he has that accent.
They know each other. Same block. Same block.
Yeah,
But-
Frank Cho and Milo Morano, Italian and Japanese, but you know.
Well, and
No,
then,
you nailed it.
and then we can look at, you know what, the perfect one of my favorite characters. We can talk Barbara Gordon. We can talk that her prior to Killing Joke and after Killing Joke, how her aesthetic changed. She was never ugly to begin with.
She was just kind of normal.
She was normal, which made her, to some people, seem almost plain Jane. But to me, and to me learning and connecting with the character, she was more human. And it's the same thing with the Clark Kent to Superman scenario. As Batgirl, she's angles and she's stunning and she fits in the suit. And as an Oracle, she's beyond she is literally beyond the physical.
Right.
She is everything that we need to support and create and to drive a team.
You don't see anybody making pinups of Oracle.
I don't. Even
Not
like
yet.
even the Spider Woman, the Frank Cho Spider Woman, it wrecked me because she's a mom.
Yeah.
Like, I understand she's a woman, but also, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, there's.
He's a pinup artist. That's
He's
his wheelhouse.
Cheesecake. He's not even pinup.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Pinup
I've-
has gravity.
Since
Yeah, there's
Since-
a pun for you. I got you.
being with the show, I don't know if I've ever looked toward the physiques or the looks of a character for me to like them. I think the only thing I've ever noticed is if the character is human, like no superpowers, then I need to have a character who hits the gym once in a while. Like I can't believe Matt Murdock as Daredevil if he looks like he's never been in a boxing ring or never been in the gym. Like, and if it's a human character, Bruce Wayne, Matt Murdock, Frank Castle, Selena Kyle. To me, they have to, and I don't mean they have to be like they're in the bodybuilding competitions in Vegas every year. They don't need to be at the most peak physical condition, but I need them to look as if.
But to you, the look of physical strength,
Yes,
lends itself to the title of hero.
Depending on what that hero's, what their role is. Like Tony Stark, I don't need him to be the most built because Tony Stark is a genius who has his suit.
But he still also hits the gym once
He does,
in a while.
and even he hits the gym once in a while. But I don't need him to be Matt Murdock hit the gym. I don't need him to be Steve Rogers.
Frank
physique.
Castle.
I think, but again, it comes back to you're in that regard, the hero would have to
Have a design.
and will have to have physical, like would have to engage in physical combat.
A bit, because again, you're fighting bad guys, in my opinion. Yeah.
Well, then this also brings up the issue, and this is why I want to ask,
Depending
of
on
faith.
yeah.
Well, of faith.
Mm-hmm.
And Ruru brought up that you want them or you need them to look like they can run up a 20-story building and not get winded.
Mm-hmm.
And
Unless, of course, they're the superpower type, where they can just
Which
zap themselves up.
which faith is.
with faith can.
Mm-hmm.
And so it comes down to, like, even when you start looking at the Great Lakes Avengers, you've got some of the same thing, and where again we're talking about, does their physical aesthetic make their impact greater? Are you more apt to believe that they can do something great, or like the Blob, they have to be a villain?
Well, see, but I guess there the physical is weight, because I gravitate towards, and I don't know what this says about me, but my two favorite comic book characters of all time are Swamp Thing and Spawn. Mm-hmm. So you have two who have physically muscular bodies but have hideously deformed faces. Spawn being, Hellspawn that basically makes Deadpool look like a Sunday morning special, and then I don't know what a Sunday morning special is. I just made that up. And then Swamp Thing, who's got a strange cone thing of
great looking
twigs,
nose.
Great looking beak. And so it's like, for whatever reason, like I gravitate towards two of the ugliest characters in the comic universe.
Well,
What does that say about me?
two of the Batmen, comparing the ones that I think fit the role better.
No.
Christian Bale, Batman Begins, perfect Bruce Wayne. Val Kilmer, the one moment he's shirtless in Batman Forever, I do not believe that man could fight any crime on the streets at all. And there's even a moment. It's when he's yelling at Dick Grayson, Chris O'Donnell, and the way he stands, it's like he's puffing out his chest. And I'm like, Val, you should have handled that before you started filming the movie, because it's not working right now. It just looks like you're trying to stick out your chest and never worked out. He's better as Doc Holliday than he was Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
He'll be your Huckleberry all day. He's so
Not you, Anderson. I didn't mean to stare at you as I said that line.
Huckleberry.
Oh,
Making
there's
fun of my
Huckleberries
size
over there.
again.
Yeah, there you go. We need to make there's a skinny joke. Yeah, we made it. Yeah,
Guess so.
my abusive emaciation comment.
Yeah, well, Manderson, how do you want to weigh on this? Because we know, I mean, we're well aware that Soups is your boy.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say top 2 Superman and Wonder Woman, but like I started getting into Superman with the George Reeves Superman show way back. I mean, it was on Nick at Night. So like my concept of Superman wasn't that he was necessarily like this perfectly handsome and muscular man. It was just somebody who was doing these adventures and standing up for what was right. And as it grew, it was just like Superman was my favorite because of that. And the more that I read during my teenage years, it was like, he's super powerful, so he could do all these crazy things, fight Doomsday, fight Imperial X, fight all these really big guys. And now with Heroes in Crisis and Bendis taken over, and even with was it Tomasi who was writing Superman before? They humanized not just the Clark Kent side of it, but the Superman side as well, to a point where the look of Superman, like how good looking he is and how muscular he is, doesn't really matter to me. It came down to his character. And I think like now, if it was still the way Superman was being written in the early 2000s and late 90s, I probably wouldn't be interested quite as much. So physically, and I mean, Wonder Woman is 6'1" and like the most attractive person in the DC universe potentially, but that again doesn't matter. It's more of what she embodied. And
some of us love Selena a little more, just say.
Well, you're wrong, but that's okay.
Well, as a hardcore Diana fan, I can tell you that she has shifted size a plethora of times, as well as aesthetic.
Yeah. And like, I mean, even
the plethora is.
Yes, I know what the plethora is.
Would you say the plethora blues?
Bingos.
So, well, I mean, those two characters tend to have a very attractive aesthetic when they're drawn by most artists. But I don't think that necessarily is what keeps me going. I think some of my favorite Superman and Wonder Woman stories are probably where they're drawn in a way that I don't necessarily find aesthetically pleasing the way that they're drawn, like the Earth One Wonder Woman series, for instance. I don't like the way that artist draws Wonder Woman, but the stories are they're different and they're interesting, and I enjoy them a lot, and the artistry doesn't necessarily take away from that either, though. So
you know who I think who does justice, but without making him obscene, is Darwin Cook.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. But with the way he would draw the characters, it's like the only way you knew someone was necessarily like muscular is they got a little bit of the upside down triangle.
Definition.
But other than that, like their arms are pretty much just like arm, like not like
shoulders,
not like.
Are
Popeye.
you always flexing?
Yeah, it's just like arm, and like Batman is just arm. And I think when you look at all them, like they're all standing side by side, you're like, okay, you kind of got broad shoulders, but other than that, like
that's it.
Yeah,
and I think it's
well, like the 1940s
style.
Superman cartoons.
Yeah, exactly. That's why Darwin drew.
Yeah.
His were also the happiest characters when you got to see them. Like they always made me happy.
Yeah.
Literally.
I think it's part of this. I mean, I know plenty of people who in real life don't have six packs and definition, and they can still, run fast and lift heavy. And I know a lot of times when it comes to like superheroes, when they have the superpowers, their metabolism and everything somehow ties into it. Like Wolverine, his regenerative abilities make him super muscular, and Superman is just super buff because of the sun, and everyone else,
Steven.
Yeah, so yeah, they got the super soldier serum, so it's almost like they never need to work out, sort of, but some of them still do. But I think it's I don't know. It's almost like that. Is that the right type of inspiration? Like to see someone just said the Liefeld, like the 90s just shredded giant buff, like wouldn't be able to get through a doorway characters.
Doesn't have to break the door.
Exactly. Is that inspirational, or like is it?
Is it alarming?
Exactly. Like I mean, do we want to be inspired by the guys that would come in with, they're holding 3 M16s and they have a bazooka and a laser coming off their eyeball, and they've got grenades all over the place and fanny packs, and yes, 3 M16s. That's how long their fingers are.
How does he do
They're two hands holding 2 M16s.
Or is it the Anyway.
No.
And it's like, do you want to be inspired by that, or do you want to be
How many
inspired?
things I can hold?
Do you want to be inspired more so by the defined but not gigantic Captain America punching out Hitler? Also going after very racistly drawn Japanese people, but it was the
Different
40s.
time, different
the
time.
40s.
World War II.
Yeah.
Chat pointed out something very particular.
That cook humanized superheroes aesthetically to help people connect.
I think you bring the physicality side of it. I think is kind of an interesting aspect.
So many pouches.
Because, look at me compared to Steve's over there. I'm pretty skinny, and Steve's he's got a few more muscles than me.
No, you have the same amount. These are just bigger.
Oh yeah, that's more accurate. Yeah. But that being said, I've generally been in pretty good shape most of my life, and because I have a fast metabolism, I could get by just maybe we'll go for a run once a month and I'll be fine. And generally, I'm fine. But
you're a lucky booger,
and that's what I like about the CW shows right now. Grant Gustin and Stephen Amell. The way they are
attainable.
Physically is attainable, and it makes sense for who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Allen is the Flash. He doesn't need to be huge, ripped, muscular.
He shouldn't be.
He shouldn't have to be.
Right.
He's already got that in him. Oliver Queen is a human. He's just a regular guy. He needs to be constantly working out, constantly building, because the hits he takes needs to be able to balance out to what he gives out. So that they do a good job in that, how they match what they are.
Does Thanksgiving get you fat?
No, I used to lose weight. The point I was going to make was there's
that's a good question.
Again, the way our culture is going and just the obesity rate, I feel like some of that, these characters have inspired me. You know what? I probably need to go and work out more. And it's not because I want to be super ripped and tearing out of a large size shirt as opposed to an extra small.
That's what I'm trying to get to.
I want to be in shape and be able to pick up my kids so that I can when I get home from work and my kids are still up, I can pick each one up in one arm and wrestle with both of them. And they're not that heavy, but still I can do that. And in 40 years, I'm still alive and healthy for them. And watching these Marvel movies and DC shows and reading these comics has kind of inspired me to I actually should probably work out.
Yeah.
Not so that I could be Batman or the Green Arrow or anything like that, but so I can be around for my kids so that I can be, I guess, that hero for them, I guess.
That's the thing. That's exactly what my mentality is, because I know my two monsters at home are going to be active and crazy and never stop running. And I want to be able to keep up with them. So that's, I feel with you on that one as well. I want to be able to pick up my boys up at 60.
Yep, my dad always was able to. My dad still plays soccer 4 days a week.
Now your dad's just showing off.
He can still kick my butt at soccer, and he is over 60 years old.
Tell your dad to stop showing off.
Okay, sorry. Well, I guess I'm not sorry. I'll let him know. Anyway,
leader of the Manderson clan.
So I like this one. What about the heroes? So in any your favorite heroes, what about their stance and beliefs? What does that say about us as people? Amy, you're ready to go.
I'm ready to go because last night, the Dame Patrol, we did our first episode and we talked about
the Dame Patrol.
The Dame Patrol, you get to meet him next week. We talked about, it was our Hard Eyes episode, and it was 2 characters we picked that made such an impact on us and why why they're our favorite. And it became this really great introspective look at how they reach and touch us. Where we parallel. And so, none of us got to do this, but I'm bringing up Wonder Woman because she's one of my favorites. And I did not bring her up. And I'll save the other 2 because the other 2 will go, oh, shoot, I see that in her now. Wonder Woman's compassion and her heart. She is, if you go with the movie, she is love. Who she is has always been about everyone else. And I have consistently been the person that thinks of everybody else first, not because I want to get accolades or I want to be your best friend. It's because I see other people's needs and go, they matter just as much as me and they deserve to be recognized where they're at, and I want to extend that. Hence why I have cookies. It sounds really dorky, but I'm able to give you guys additional comfort from my mom's face. And I feel I have purpose, that I'm not just here but I'm not being taken advantage of as well. And Diana is constantly, even if we talk New 52, she's constantly putting herself out there to protect other people because the needs of the many are greater than the needs of the few.
And the needs of the one.
Hit it, Mandy.
Nice.
Hit it, Mandy.
Which is interesting because it's funny that you mentioned that because a lot of times like the selfishness that we have in our culture is a very Western ideal as opposed to very like a very Eastern ideal is very much about like the whole community, like everyone pulling everyone up, which is why a lot of people say like when you go to Japan it's so clean and so efficient but it also is some people feel like they're lacking in that individuality that it's like that balance that we don't have. We're too far on the other side. We're all about our individuals. So much so where like people are like, oh, just leave me alone. Like I'm gonna say this because I believe the flag is used inappropriately, but don't tread on me. They're all about me. Like they don't want to help. And obviously, like whether or not how you feel about your tax money being used is not here nor there. But the people who just want to be completely independent, they want no type of governing organization. All so much so to the independent, it's an extreme. It's too much about themselves and their immediate unit as opposed to helping out someone around them. Because I'm going to be honest, I can't pave a road. So I kind of need someone who can pave a road. Thus, I need to be in a community. Thus, I need to support other people in that community. Thanks, Ron Swanson. But yeah, so I think when first off, the Wonder Woman beautiful. I think the characters that I tend to gravitate towards do kind of say a lot about me. Like I love Captain America, and everyone's like, oh, Captain America, like truth, justice, the American way. I know Superman tends to say, yeah, but he's I have this save on my phone because I save it every time I see it, so it's in my phone dozens of times. But I'm loyal to nothing except the dream. Is a line that's not even from a Captain America comic, but Captain America says it's in Daredevil. But it's so important for that to say, like a lot of people like to say that Captain America is a propaganda piece, and of course he was during World War II, and he could be seen as a propaganda piece easily and during any time period because it depends who's writing him and how they're writing him. But I love the fact that Captain America is never a mindless servant. Captain America, he's a soldier, but he doesn't go blindly in without recognizing the greater situation. He's tactical, he's intelligent, but he questions. Not questions authority in a disrespectful manner, but he still questions. He gave up the shield when he saw that the government had been infiltrated by the Serpent Society, and that of course tied in heavily with the Watergate scandal. So of course, keep politics out of comics. Sure.
We talked about that on Crossover too.
Nice. But I think I gravitate towards Captain America because it's not this blind service. It's I find myself sometimes on the middle ground because we have super patriotic on one side and then people who aren't so patriotic on the other, and it's tough because they're both the points they're making. Like there's a point of pride and pride in our soldiers and in our people and in our firefighters and our police, but that doesn't mean you can't recognize the issues within all of those organizations. You can't. It's you can say that you respect and appreciate what police do and that you want to be able to call them in the case of emergency, and still question those that use their ability and their weaponry and their position of power to abuse and to hurt others. And the same could be said for it's not as common in fire departments because they're not really doing the same thing, but there's still there could be corruption at any level. And same with the military. I know today is Veterans Day, and it's a lot of times like when you get together that many people, they're not going to be a perfect organization full of wholesome people. There are people who become police officers and become soldiers because they want to do bad things. I'm not saying all of them. I'm not even saying it's a large number of them. I don't even know what the numbers are. I don't know how many people go in there just because they want to be able to use a gun to kill people. I know a lot of people that go in because they want to do a lot of good. Some people go in because they don't have any other opportunities or because it's something they're good at. Like there's a lot of reasons to do it. And I think that's part of my issue sometimes with throwing the word hero around. And so I like I said, I gravitate towards Captain America in that he recognizes when soldiers are misused, like in Ta-Nehisi Coates, not Ta-Nehisi Coates. Yeah, Ta-Nehisi Coates.
The recent one.
Yeah, he's right in the current one. Mm-hmm. Oh, what's the guy's name? He's got the American flag printed on his face.
I can't remember.
Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I'm completely forgetting. He's like a classic Captain America villain, and he's one of those guys where he's a soldier that is used and misused and abused, and Cap sees that, and Cap isn't just see him as, you know, a villain to be beaten down, but he also doesn't see him as this perfect thing that needs to be loved and cared for, because it's, you know, because he's a soldier. It's not that, it's that he's a human being who other human beings are using for the wrong purpose, and so that he recognizes that. And so I think that's part of the big thing that, for me, why I gravitate towards Cap and the characters that don't question authority and sometimes in a disrespectful manner, because they're not deserving of respect. Which is why I also I go towards Swamp Thing. Like Swamp Thing is he's got a very particular goal. Initially, it's very selfish. It's trying to get back to who he is and trying to figure out what he is. And then it turns more towards protecting those around him, and you can see his ecosystem really grow. It goes from trying to figure himself out to trying to save the people he knows, to trying to save the community and fight the evil around it, and then it goes to saving the whole world because of all the things we're doing to it, and then going beyond that as he becomes the avatar for the whole planet. And I think that again kind of shows the in a weird way, like the environmentalism side of it, like protecting we only got, you know, one chance here, and it's not that the planet is dying. The planet's gonna be fine.
We die.
If we wipe out all this vegetation, the planet's gonna be like, all right, cool, I'll figure something else out.
It'll figure it out in about 10,000 years.
Yeah, it'll just cycle it through again. But we won't be here anymore.
Bingo.
Life finds a way.
Yeah,
there he is.
Yeah, the planet is gonna find a way. We won't. So I kind of gravitate towards that as well, and I think that kind of says what I kind of think what I kind of think what a hero can and should be.
You mean that humans need community?
Yeah.
Because it's pinned and I wrote it?
Continuing with Captain America. It's with the post that we put up earlier today.
Oh, we agreed on that.
Yeah, you take
all agreed
the credit. You wrote it.
Patriotism and nationalism.
Yes.
Okay? Patriotic is you love your country, you love it to death, but you will critique it when it needs to be critiqued, and you're most likely critiquing the government that runs it. Nationalism means you love the country and the government that's running it at that time because it aligns with what you believe. Captain America is a patriot, not a nationalist. He wears the red, white, and blue. He bleeds for the dream of the United States. But when it's doing something wrong, when the government is using that symbol in a negative way, he will stand against it.
He loves the country despite what it can do,
exactly,
as opposed to loving what the country does.
Exactly.
100% of the time.
So it's patriotism. The right way is the good thing. It's the nationalism that people tend to think they're the patriotic ones. I'm telling you, today, the nationalists who are out there wearing red, white, and blue and saying they love America and what have you, Cap would not be siding with them because they're just blinded by their nationalistic idea, not the patriotism they're supposed to have. And it with the ideals of a hero, it's always that constant fight to doing what is right, what is good, what helps society. And you, along with corrupt police, corrupt officials, Batman, my favorite of all time. That guy is fighting cops and government officials about as often as he's fighting gangs and criminal organizations. Because in the eye of Bruce Wayne, in his mind, evil exists on both sides. It's in the gangs, it's in the organized crime, it's in the cops, it's in the the government officials. He finds the people he can trust. James Gordon, Bullock, not Ramirez. Ramirez was Dark Knight. There was the other one, Montoya, in the cartoons. Montoya. He finds those that are within the organization that are still good and still true to it, and along with them helps to clean it out. It's that hashtag I've always used when I share a story about bad cops. I've always said, defend the good, denounce the bad. You can defend the good. You can believe in the good cops that are there and also want to root out the bad that exists. Because if you keep the bad that's in that law enforcement agency, that bad will cause enough evil to happen that hurts the good. So you should want to defend the good, denounce the bad, not just go blank and say, no, all it's good. And there's, like you just said, there's no organization that is completely perfect, that's completely good. They're human. Humans are flawed.
Power corrupts.
Power corrupts. There are bad people. There's bad people out there on either side, and you have to root that out. And that's what Cap, and Bruce, and all of our heroes. It's never been. These guys are always the good ones. It's where are the good, and we defend that.
Well, I think it also goes back to like humans needing community isn't just about the brotherhood. It's about the balance. It's Cap, and you plant your tree by the
River of Truth.
By the river of truth, and you say no, you move. And that is every single time there is change that needs to be affected. It's planting.
Tony.
It's
telling
planting
the House
yourself.
Committee to kiss his ass when he's just right there.
But it is.
Yeah.
But in Anthony, it's community supporting and acknowledging that everyone is human, everyone is flawed, but not giving up on the community and not letting it be subjected to the utter termination of all the good.
You want my suit? You can't have it.
So,
Good line.
But it's you a big favor.
Privatize world peace.
privatizing world peace.
Give him a chance to quote Tony Stark, and he's going to jump right on
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm even wearing the arc. I'm wearing the arc.
That's why I went with the truth. I went with the truth.
Thank
I went
you.
with Peggy. I went with that's her in the MCU.
Let me
that
do
is her
annoyed
death.
Tony. Hold on, annoyed Tony.
There you go.
Civil War annoyed Tony.
There we go.
The package for Tony Stank.
This is it. Yeah, this is Tony
Thank you
Stank.
for that.
Right here.
Thank you, Matt. This is
Thank you,
Tony
Tony
Stank. Thank you for that.
Oh.
I've been thinking on the question a little bit, and I've landed on two heroes.
Did they superhero land? Superhero pose?
The first is going to be probably, obviously, Superman.
No. What?
Um,
Shocking.
I know, so shocking.
Get out.
Crypto? Is it crypto or is it Superman?
No, I mean, it's going to be Superman.
Okay,
And,
I'm just
and the
checking.
main thing with that is, I see him in a lot of places. He's like that rock that kind of holds firm when everything else is falling apart around him. And I tend to have a very even-keeled personality and an ability to kind of maintain steadiness in crazy situations.
You do?
Yeah.
What?
And so I see myself grabbing onto that, and when things are crazy and things are falling apart in other people's lives, or even maybe in my own, I find myself grabbing onto that. Somebody needs to be the rock. I will have my chance to fall apart, but somebody needs to be the rock. And that's not to say that's not always a healthy thing on my end, but that's something that I've grabbed onto from that character. It has afforded me the opportunity to help walk through dark times in friends' lives, and even people that wouldn't call me friend, be there to hear their stories and give them advice and words of hope and love in those situations. But I guess as Heroes in Crisis shows, it also leaves me vulnerable in certain places. The other one is, we've already talked about Captain America, and it's not because of something that I naturally align with him on, but it's something that he actually inspires from me. Because of that even-keeledness, that oftentimes means that when things maybe aren't going the way that they should, they're going in the wrong direction, I will, just because I'm like, well, it's not my place, I'll just be there for people when things fall apart, but I'm not going to rock the boat anymore, and not stand up for what needs to be stood up for. That quote it's originally from the Civil War storyline, right?
And it was an Italian.
Straczynski.
Where he says that you must plant your tree next to the river of truth and say, no, you move. When I see things that I don't think are right, that pops into my head. I'm like, is this that moment where I have to do that? Or does this matter that much? And it's made me, in certain cases, contrary to my personality, which is generally very quiet and introvertive, stand up and say, no, this is not the way this should be. Here's why this is wrong. And so, I mean, the question was, what does it say about us? I think this one has more taught me and inspired me to be something greater than myself, to step outside my comfort zone to make a positive impact in the little sphere of influence that I have, whether it's in my community or at work or wherever I am. And for those of you who have worked where I work, knows that somebody has to stand up for what's right sometimes.
True.
So
I can do this all day.
I think that's a good point to bring up this quote, and then wrap it up.
Yeah.
From our man Stan the Manly. I used to be embarrassed because I was just a comic book writer while other people were building bridges or going on to medical careers. Then I began to realize entertainment is one of the most important things in people's lives. Without it, they might go off the deep end. I feel that if you're able to entertain people, you're doing a good thing. And we hope we've been able to entertain you in this deep conversation on an emotional day.
I feel like there's going to be a part 2 to this.
We didn't even get to half the things, and it's
heavy.
It's heavy. She's so heavy.
She's so heavy.
White Album Beatles. Like the rockin' world go round. So I have a quote I'm gonna take us out on again. This one's written by Stanley, but first we need to go over a couple things of business, like the fact that we are sponsored by Beard Bomb Brush and Empire's Comics Vault. You can go to beardbombrush.com, use the code KPLUS, get 15% off your purchase. We got some new Beard Bomb brushes. Manderson forgot mine.
I left my beard
it
at
feels
home.
so good on my face.
I'm all about it. You used it. You used my tree beard. Hoom haroom. I'm all about it. Dude, I have worked the Beard Balm brush into my daily routine, and I love it.
Tree beard, Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
Yeah. Hoom. Yeah, and Empire's Comics Vault, located at 1120 Fulton Avenue, Suite K. It is our home away from home. Come down here, get some hot sauce, hang out some pugs, read some comic books, meet Ben. He's great. Chimichangas.
We don't have a microwave. We can't make chimichangas unless you bring them.
There's a guy that randomly shows up with tamales in his. Yeah, those are so good.
Close enough.
He's fantastic.
And our D&D episodes are of course inspired. Take two are sponsored by the Critical Dice. You can go to the Critical Dice and use the code KPLUS, get 15% off of your purchase.
Natural 20.
Yeah. You can also go to the KPlusCrusaders.com, find all this stuff, all of our content, all our previous episodes, our blogs, our entries. We got lots of blogs from him about D&D. We're supposed to have articles from him, but you can't even read comic books.
New content showing up.
We're gonna have new content. I'm gonna be adding a new tab to the website.
New tabs. Ooh, 2 new tabs.
Need 2 new tabs, bro.
I need 2 new tabs.
Better make 2 new tabs now.
That one, this one.
Oh, right. Got it.
Just hold them 2 tabs.
We got 2. Do I have to give you a tab? Crap, it might be 3.
3 new tabs.
You could get a tab.
Here's the thing.
You hit your show going another tab.
Exactly.
Pink tab.
Actually,
This is my show. Actually, we're on the limited page plan, so we might have to get
less tabs.
Yeah, less money.
we can share tabbery with him.
Yeah, we can.
Pink.
So you can go to the KPLUS and you can find all of our shows. Crossover, where Manderson and his brothers talk about comic books and sports. Soon coming, The Dame Patrol, where
We have the
Amy,
first episode in the
Minnie,
can.
and Steph.
Stephanie.
Stephanie? Is she for Steph or Stephanie?
She's all for that jam, bro.
Dig it. Where they are going to look at comic books through the lens of ladies.
And it's all things sheer geekery at this time.
Sheer geekery. Get it? Get it? Get it?
We got all those lenses.
Get it? Sheer. Get it? Get it? I wear lingerie sometimes.
I went alarm.
What?
I went alarm there.
It's in my head.
And then yeah, just like Hulk and Thor's brain. We've done over and over again. And then, of course, on Sundays, we have Sunday Coffee with the Azorian, where he talks about whatever he feels like, including the jam that he's putting on his toast.
Dang right.
Ooh.
So you can find everything there. So for the KPLUS Crusaders, my name is, of course, David Barry, at Dr. Barry on varying social media. It was debated heavily in the chat tonight. I don't know why. My name is David. I was Dave for 1 year in high school.
Ooh.
All I ever went is Dave. I am
man.
not Dave, and I'm not Ben or Tyrese or whatever was going on up there with Ace Platinum.
No, he was Ben.
He was Ben. Oh, was I Jerry?
You were Trevor.
Oh, God, anyway.
And apparently you're 46.
Antic?
Tyrese.
Gotta get bad, man. Anyway, David Barry at Dr. Barry.
True love for a lifetime.
My left, this beanpole of a man.
I called him Dave once and I thought I was going to die. My name is Manderson, at Son of Manor on Mander. There's a D in there. Son of Mander on Instagram and Twitter. Tossing it over David's head, not all the way, but just right next to him.
Lacking a lot of alliterations. This is Amy. You can find me at IJNewRobot on the varying social media, and this has been a fantastic night. But of course, my singing partner in crime, dude, we got a karaoke.
Karaoke means Haunted orchestra. No, it means empty orchestra. It's hauntingly beautiful. That's 2 How I Met Your Mother references tonight.
That was good.
You get them too, buddy.
Who are you?
I don't like bullies. I don't care where they're from. This is the Azorian one, Anthony Steves.
I leave you with a classic quote from Stan the Man Lee.
TX point.
Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko all in company in the afterlife doing comics. And a lean, silent figure slowly fades into the gathering darkness, aware at last that in this world with great power there must also come great responsibility. And so a legend is born and a new name is added to the roster of those who make the world of fantasy the most exciting realm of all. For the Capeless Crusaders, Excelsior, and good night.